Welcome back to part 3 of our interview with Jeff Koser, where he tells us how your company can force success and how you can turn your partners into customers. Stay tuned because part 3 is just around the corner.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performance Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Thor Conklin here. We give you the tricks, the tips, the tools, the strategy, the technology, and the psychology peak performers use in order to get more done and execute at the highest level. If you know what to do but struggle with getting it all done, or simply want to raise your game to the next level, this podcast is for you. Sit back and enjoy. You obviously know how to execute. And everything that we do here is about execution. You know, knowledge is great, but knowledge is not power. It's only the ability when you take that knowledge and you execute on it. What are some of your keys to execution?
So we needed to change our model. So we needed to go to market through our partners, and we needed our partners to learn how to do what we do. And the thing that we didn't know if we could scale on was really the voice of the customer work. And if you look at that ebook on our website, we talk about how you do that. But even after you read that ebook, it's only 19 pages, but there's a lot there. And it's not easy to do that work. You have to earn the right, even within your customer base, to talk to the person who's power for your solution. And most companies don't have a relationship with power, even if they've been selling there for a long time. Or even if they had it at the beginning, it usually settles in at a different level, usually level or two below who power is. So we had to teach our partners how to do that. And that was a labor of love in some ways, but we proved we could do that, and we have many partners doing that work now, and we've got some larger clients that want to do that on their own. But execution-wise, that really is the key to our business, because that becomes the raw material for your value claim. It becomes the raw material for how do you find more zebras and how do you penetrate them. That messaging is golden, and it allows you to build that best practice survey I was sharing with you. It allows you to turn it into a go-to-market for the entire business. So execution-wise, that has been the key for us. And then turning partners into our customers and making sure that the end customer they serve, we stay involved, so that end customer actually achieves the business case value that they had expected, and that's expensive, and it takes us a while to do it right, but we're in it for the long haul. I mean, our goal, we've got a pretty lofty goal. It may not happen while I'm alive, but we want to change the way the world sells. And we think the world would be a better place if everybody sold to zebras. And so we want to train more and more companies how to build a business around doing this and doing it right.
Yeah, because the amount of time and energy and cost selling to non-zebras is extensive. And it is. And it happens every single day. And we're a profitability consulting firm. So we're always looking at the things that drive dollars to the bottom line. And to get an executive or to get a business owner to turn away from, quite frankly, cash that may not be their zebra, it's tough. They really, really struggle with it. But the cost can be massive on the back end.
You're absolutely right. I mean, it's, when sometimes when I do a launch of our solution set to sellers, you have a room full of salespeople, and the first time you imply that they're going to walk away from a prospect, they look at you with a jaundiced eye. Like maybe I don't have a clue as to how hard it was to actually find somebody that's going to buy something, how to find the right person to even have a conversation with. And you're going to tell me that some scoring system that you just put together is going to tell me to walk away? Think again, buddy.
Yeah. I remember having a conversation about Walmart. This client was so excited. I think I'm going to get in Walmart. I'm like, I'm sorry. He's like, what do you mean you're sorry? I'm like, what does the deal look like? He goes, well, we're going to have to sell an awful lot. The margins aren't that good. That's surprising.
Yeah. Yeah. Had they ever gone into Walmart to negotiate?
They were getting, they were in the beginning stages of that. I knew what was coming for them.
Yeah, the plywood table, the lawn chair that you get to sit in.
Yes. I said, remember, this is not about selling product. It's about selling product profitably.
Yes.
So what are some of the surprises that you've seen along the way? We all love our babies, right? I call our product or service our babies, right? We think it's the most beautiful baby in the world. Well, some babies just aren't that pretty. And when we go in and we talk with clients, they come back and they give us real feedback on how pretty our baby is. What were some of the surprising things that you learned that you like, this is a great idea, and then all of a sudden the clients are like, no, don't like that?
Well, so we actually have one section of our software. I think it's going to be big, but it hasn't proven to be so far. So there's a section called Strategic Insights, and that allows you to put in, it's more like information for internally about the account. You don't share that with the account like you do the other materials. You don't present that to them like you do the others from the platform. So it's for you to do things like a SWOT analysis. What's the risk around this? What's the reward? Where are we weak? Where are we strong? What does the competition look like? And truly analyze it from a SWOT perspective. You can have a separate close plan in there. You can have an implementation plan. So like a templated implementation of whatever your solution looks like, and how do you make sure it's successful. So that section, I think it's pretty strategic, but customers haven't proven it to be strategic yet. They haven't said they don't like it. They're just not using it yet.
Just hasn't gotten the traction yet.
So that's what we're saying to ourselves so far. But we let the software tell us what people will use and won't use, and we can pull things out too, because if they don't use it, we don't want it in there. Yeah,
it was amazing. I remember when I started my company, people started asking about accountability. Hey, would you set something up where you can hold me accountable for this? I'm like, well, we don't do accountability. It was like, finally after the 20th customer said, hey, can you do this? I'm like, I don't want to get run over by a bus that had accountability written on the side of it. I'm getting the message. The universe is telling me what we need to look at. And I was so shocked at the number of people that clamored and just really, really wanted not just like easy accountability. I mean, brute, in your face, real stuff. And the more honest and upfront and brutal we were, almost in a loving way, the more they liked it. It really took me by surprise.
I like that, but I also like that you added in there in a loving way, because right, if you bring the purity of the request for all the good of the business and for that individual, well, then accountability it's easy to hold them accountable and even be tough, right?
Yeah, exactly. If you tell me where you want to go and you agree with the rules and how we're going to engage, I'm not going to hold back. I have a responsibility to myself because I gave you my promise that I was going to get you there. Well, that's what we need to do. And, nothing's going to get in the way, including you.
So we have so the end of our process, Thor, and by the way, they don't have to use our process, but we do have a actual sales process that you can use in the software, or you can change it. But the end of our process is something called force success, and it's that accountability thing that you were talking about. So when you build a business case and you agree on what you're trying to accomplish together, it's just like when you go into a business and you're working with the decision makers and you define what success looks like. Force success is where you go back in and you hold them accountable for what they said they wanted to accomplish, right?
Yes.
Because many times they've met the enemy, and the enemy is themselves, right?
Yes.
And it's just like you said in podcasts that I've heard you on, they say they want accountability, then you have to do that for them. And then sometimes they figure out they didn't really want that accountability.
Yeah. Most people are interested, very few are committed.
That's yes.
In anything in life.
That's
you can apply that to marriage.
True. Very true. And we did this, so I won't name the name of the account, but it's largest industrialized company in the world by value. And we did a forced success meeting with them when they bought from us. And I'd tell you their name, but I seeing as this is a little bit of a critique, I won't. But when we did the forced success meeting, this was actually with an HR person who you wouldn't think would be reviewing us, but at this company, HR is how they were built. And they're very powerful, and they leverage HR in the right way. I mean, it's all about the people and the best people in the best position, and constantly evaluating that, and they constantly cull the bottom group of people. So when we did our forced success meeting, we lay out, here's what you've done well, or here's what we've done well. We always start with what we've done well. Here's what we need to improve on. And they kind of like that. You guys need to improve. Yeah, you do. And then you put up a slide that says, here's what you're doing well. And then they know what's coming, right? They know that fourth slide that's going to talk about what they need to improve on. And then the air in the room starts to change. And put that last one up, and it was actually a paper presentation in a room, and went down the list, and he says, Bob says, so we're really not doing our job here, are we? I said, you're really not. And he said, you got brass ones. He said, you're lucky I like that. So you can tell that they actually implemented some of those, but we had a different respect for each other, and so that we have that accountability process actually built in, because it happens anytime you're doing something hard. You have to have some meetings like that.
Yeah, you absolutely do. Everybody walks away. I have a client, and I said to him the other day, I said, one of the things I really, really appreciate about you is you never, ever for a moment misunderstand where you stand with you. He is like brutal. I'm like, I've been on the receiving end of it a couple times. I'm like, I don't like it, but I never wonder where I stand. You always act immediately and swiftly and with a hammer. And I'm the guy named Thor. You remind me.
Comes with a certain responsibility.
Yeah, but it's not for everybody. And I could see how he would, just run some people over. But boy, it's just refreshing as opposed to this politically correct. Everybody's smiling. How'd the meeting go? Good. Yeah. Oh, I love you guys. We're not doing business with them. Just right? I mean, how many we've all been in those meetings, right? Everyone shakes hands. This is great. Looking forward to the next steps, and it's like crickets after that.
Yeah, it's one of the ways you're really at power, right, in a company, because power will tell you where you stand openly and honestly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I always like to ask the question. I think we all have had mentors in our lives and continue to. What's some of the best advice you've received in business?
I heard you mention the word universe before, so when we're done with this, we'll have to have a conversation. But I was first introduced to attitude as being such an important part of what you do and how you do it. And my first introduction to that type of thinking was Wayne Dyer. Way back when Nightingale Conant were putting out, educational cassettes. That's how far back that was.
Yeah, I've got them.
Do you?
Yeah. I don't have a cassette player anymore.
Yeah, I know. I'm not surprised that you do. And that transformed my thinking, that the problem wasn't my manager. The problem wasn't the way the business was set up. The problem was me. And I could have an effect. I could change some of that.
So your best business tool is a mirror.
Yeah. There you go. That's succinct. Took me longer to say that.
Well, I just came up with that. I got to write it down so I remember it. So my follow-up question to that one is, we've been given advice in the past, and sometimes we think it's great advice, and we don't know that it's not great advice until we actually implement it and then turn around and go, that probably wasn't a good idea. Do you have any of those moments?
Yeah. So we used to ask sellers to do certain things in addition to the zebra scoring. We added steps into the process. We prescribed. I won't name the process, but it was almost like because they used to do this. You fill out almost like a 4-page booklet around a deal, and we wouldn't do that internally in our own company. So we were asking sellers to do something we weren't willing to do, and that became our first test: was, are we willing to do this as a sales enablement, as a sales expertise company? If we're not willing to do it, if Brian, who runs sales for us, isn't willing to do it, we don't ask anybody to do it because they won't. So that's what we learned, and that's how we pivoted from that. They might do it on one deal, but it took too long. It slowed them down. And sellers are smart. They have functional ADD. They won't do anything that doesn't lead to revenue.
Yeah. Yes. That's funny. I have a mentor. He calls that, "Are you eating your own cooking?"
Yes. And that's what we do. So if we won't use it in the software, for example, or in our process, we question whether anybody would.
That's terrific. Hey, Jeff, tell us how we can get more information from you and how we can keep in touch.
So sellingtozebras.com. It's sellingtozebras.com. We're easy to find. I'm easy to find. So and all the things we've been talking about, you can get out on our website. There's the ebook for how to build your zebra. There's an ebook for voice of the customer, and our book is inexpensive and easy to find too.
Terrific. I think the only question you haven't answered yet is the zebra white with black stripes, or is it black with white stripes?
That's really philosophical, isn't it?
I don't know. I think there actually is an answer to that. I don't know what it is. You know what? We'll have to Google it.
So did you know that the zebra stripes are actually part of its defense mechanism?
No.
So they blend together, they run together, and it's actually hard for the lion or the whatever is pursuing them to distinguish them separately from the other one.
Oh, so if they're running in a pack, it's difficult to single that one out?
Correct. They get confused. They see multiples, and they often go after multiples, and then pretty much they waste all their energy and they walk away hungry.
All right.
More than you wanted to know, right?
No. Now we got some interesting facts to use at happy hour this evening. Jeff, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to having you back on the show.
Thank you, Thor. I'd love to come back. This has been fun.
Thank you so much for listening today. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you found today's show valuable. If you would like to receive these shows automatically to your phone or to your computer, simply go to iTunes and subscribe. After listening to several of the shows, if you're so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating, as this helps us reach additional people and spread the message. If you're truly committed to taking your life to the next level and doing whatever it takes to become a peak performer, but something's holding you back, something is blocking your way, and you just can't seem to figure out what it is, send me an email to info@thorconklin.com, and I'd be more than happy to get on the phone with you. We'll schedule a 15-minute discovery call. No obligation, no cost. I absolutely love to hear from the listeners, and if there's something I can do to help, I'd be more than happy to do that. Also, if you found something of great interest in today's show and you want to share that with your friends and family, simply go to my Facebook page, Thor Conklin, click on the episode, hit the share button, and share it on your page. You can follow me at Twitter @ThorConklin. The website is thorconklin.com. We're constantly adding new free resources, discussing additional tricks, tips, tools, and strategies on how to be a peak performer. Remember, I try to keep these episodes short so you can listen to them during dot time, doing other things, commuting, driving, walking, working out. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. And until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.